A new story out of Deadline says that Lachlan Murdoch, the heir to Rupert Murdoch, the guy who sold Fox, or most of Fox, to Bob Iger, says that his bankers are saying they could repurchase some of their former assets for half the price. Did Bob Iger overpay by $35 billion for Fox? Let's talk about that on That Park Place. Hello, I am Jonas J. Gamble, an investigative reporter for That Park Place, and here with me is my business analyst and my theme park analyst, and sometimes reversed, Culture Casino and Vash Guy. Welcome, gentlemen.
Thank you.
Thank you for having us.
So glad you're here today. Let's talk about this story out of Hollywood Reporter. Fox Corp will pursue M&A deals. CEO Lachlan Murdoch says executive also discussed the company's approach to sports and news at a Goldman Sachs conference. He presides over part of what used to be Fox, the part that is Fox News and Fox Sports 1. And Fox Sports 2, a couple of cable channels. I'm surprised they didn't go for that News Corp name, but apparently they are Fox Corp. Even though Fox was sold to Disney, or at least that's what the headline reads, there is this remaining portion of the company that is actually Fox. And even though I was told by a very competent executive that you never kill a brand that you own the rights to, Disney said, no, we want this Fox name out of here. We want to be 20th Century Studios, etc. Here. Can anybody go through the basic big swings about how much Disney wanted to pay for Fox versus how much they actually wanted to pay for Fox?
Anybody in everybody wanted to pay $40 billion or less if they could. In fact, at the time, that was still that was still considered an overpayment. And you're right, they were really looking at that $36 billion number. But at the end of the day, because of some very, very amazing deal making by somebody over there at Comcast, this Roberts fellow, whatever, he somehow baited Iger into paying $71 billion.
Right. And just to point this out, when you make an offer for a large company, you have to make an offer that convinces the shareholders that they have to say yes to it. And one might refer to it as a knockout blow. For instance, when Elon Musk proposed to buy Twitter, he proposed overpaying by maybe $10 billion, sorry, with a B, if I wasn't clear there, in order to get that. I think in this case, it was probably about $5 billion over. So the company probably worth around 35, 36, and Bob Iger coming in and saying, $40 billion. Brian Roberts comes in and says, hey, over here, if this is up for sale, we would like these assets, and they'll pay $52 billion, I believe was the figure. It was in that 50 range. Bob Iger did then say in his book that he wanted to make sure that this was an actual knockout blow. And so he offered $68 billion, often rounded, just a measly $2 billion of rounding into $70 billion. And the deal was approved by the shareholders of the Walt Disney Company. Now, after this happened, the DOJ came in and said, all these regional sports networks that you got here, you can't keep those. They would, of course, have kept them. Bob Iger pretended like he never wanted them anyways, like ESPN would be interested in sports. That would be insane here. But those had to go. Well, now this leaves Lachlan Murdoch here, who was also on the list of speculated people who maybe could succeed Iger. By the way, he stayed on at Disney for $142 million at this point. That Lachlan Murdoch did a lot of stuff to make sure that everybody knew, no, he's actually left-leaning. He's not like his dad. And he didn't end up coming with the Disney deal. And now he is in charge of Fox Corp. Now, we've said all this to say there's a little paragraph in here about a current deal that is going on between Fox and Disney and also Warner Brothers, but also how much they paid for those regional sports networks. So I want to read about this right here. He argued that Venu, which is the joint venture between those three companies, was not meant to jeopardize the traditional pay TV business, and that the company would lose if a pay TV sub swapped cable for Venu. Of course, Bob Iger has said that no, he wants these to be similarly priced to where they don't lose any money on things like this or ESPN. If we lose a cable subscriber to Venu, we lose money in that transaction because we lose the subscriber to Fox News. The local station retransmission is built within Venu, but we lose the Fox News subscribers, Murdoch says. So we don't want to have a like-to-like swap of cable to Venu. We want to target Venu very much. Down here, by the way, Venu looks like it's not going to happen, at least not for another year, because of an injunction we'll be talking about in another video. Murdoch also described his approach to rights, noting that the company stayed out of the NBA race, which was it $80 billion that the NBA rights ended up going for between all the different people who were paying for them. Also dropped World Wrestling Entertainment. He also recounted a deal that never happened. Very smart bankers came to us and said, you have a great opportunity. You can buy back the regional sports networks for half of what you sold them for to Disney. And we stayed far away from that as possible.
Wow.
That's wild.
So this seems like, I don't know why Lachlan Murdoch would go out publicly and embarrass Bob Iger like this. But there's obviously been this very nasty proxy fight between Nelson Peltz and Bob Iger, where the purchase of the Fox assets was a key issue here. Also, the overcompensation of Bob Iger, a key issue here. But it sounds like he's directly saying that they overpaid by a factor of 100% for these assets.
Wow.
Oh, without a doubt. I mean, they were definitely overvalued. There's no question. Now, we talk about that knockout blow, that additional $5 billion or so that Bob Iger initially wanted to pay for these assets. I mean, what this is describing here is that may have been way overvalued, and to go as far as they went, what a devastating decision it has been, that is for sure. Because a part of this was, okay, we're going to go ahead and leverage these assets in order to augment our streaming business. And well, we just hit profitability in 2024, but only by a very small amount, and we really haven't done anything more with those Fox assets. Some of those activations are starting to come online right now. We obviously Planet of the Apes and Romulus, and well, I mean, let's not forget Deadpool. And think about that. Without those assets, where would Disney be at the box office this year? Ooh, cringe to think about that. But has it been worth this amount? Oh, I don't think so.
Yeah, it's hard to make a good argument for the acquisition of Fox. I mean, I look at, even back when Comcast was making their like second or third attempt to get Fox away from Disney, they were offering that $65 billion that Jonas mentioned a minute ago, and that was almost 20% premium over what the stock was valued at. They were offering $35 a share. So then you had Disney come back and pay nearly 25% premium at $71 billion. That doesn't make any fiscal sense,
It really doesn't. Especially when the stated purpose of this was to bolster streaming assets, and we still don't know how much this is going to cost when it comes down to it, because that portion that they're paying for Hulu, which right now is more dependable in revenue than even the movie making business for them, we're still waiting to find out whether or not the additional $5 billion that they've put in reserve in order to pay the rest of that bill to Comcast, when and if that's going to happen, putting the value of Hulu up near the $45 billion range. And they only bought a third of that when they bought that other third from Fox.
And one can make the argument, okay, look, we're going to overpay for this, but don't worry, we're overpaying because we're the Walt Disney Company. We'll be able to leverage this more than just about anybody else. So maybe it's worth that to us. But what have we seen really as far as Fox-based or 20th Century Fox-based acquisition assets being activated within any of their divisions or line of businesses? I mean, outside of the Hulu stuff, maybe, outside of some studio stuff, and almost zero park stuff, we really haven't seen anything. Even on the consumer product side, you would have thought that they would have been able to really ramp up production on all kinds of stuff based on those assets. And we just haven't seen any of it. So I'm left wondering here, like, what did we purchase? Why did we go to this extent to purchase these assets? And then you look at that $142 million figure as attached to maybe some stock options and some benefits to Bob Iger directly, and you go, maybe it wasn't all just in the company's best interests.
That's a really good point. He overpaid by $35 billion so that he personally could get $142 million.
Well, and again, as of June, you had to take a look at the balance sheet and the amount of debt that the company is carrying. They're sitting at $47.5 billion worth of debt.
Right.
That's a lot to carry around.
Well, and they were struggling to make interest payments, as the New York Times illustrated in the recent expose. They were struggling to make interest payments, not even just paying down that debt during the time that their businesses were basically defunct because of the pandemic.
Right. And it's also worth pointing out at that point that Bob Iger did step down as CEO, but did when Gavin Newsom rang him on the phone, he said, no, I need you, Gavin Newsom, to go ahead and put out the order to shut down Disneyland, the second most profitable part of the company here, in order to make sure that everyone is safe. He made that call and did not tell Bob Chapek until the call was over that it was Bob Iger who chose to shut down the profit centers of the company during COVID, going behind the CEO's back to do that. Now, Bob Chapek has since said he doesn't know that he disagrees with that statement, but the level at which that he's been allowed to spend other people's money with impunity makes me wonder if he's going to get sued one of these days. He personally is going to get sued, maybe by people within the company or even by Bob Chapek. In fact, that New York Times article says that if his family wasn't so dyed-in-the-wool Disney, he probably would have sued. All right. Well, we want to throw this to our commenters here. Do you think it's just $35 billion? How far off were they in this here? Or are you really clamoring for those regional sports there that are on those Fox networks? I bet you couldn't even name what they are. I don't know. I'm not a sports guy, so I don't really know. Let us know your thoughts on all of this in the comment section down below. Always love to read them. One of my favorite comments from a recent video was about Bob Iger saying that he's underpaid. And favorite comment on that one was, let them eat churros. Like this video if you like this video, and consider subscribing to That Park Place for all the news that should be fun.
Thanks for watching That Park Place News. For more information, consider checking out www.thatparkplace.com. And don't forget to subscribe, share, like, and send this out on your favorite social media accounts.